everybody. Let's see if this works this time. I think we've eliminated the noise. We've gone full quality. Everything should be fantastic. And we should be able to do some racing with subs. What more could you want from life? After 10 reboots, 1,000
let's go.
1,000 new cables. What more could you possibly want? Absolutely on the limit. We've been going for 12 hours. Cabling for 12 hours. Beautiful. I'll get a server up here. We'll see if this works. Then we can break Assetto Corsa with some new settings. But let's give this a test with these settings. Pop in chat and say hello if it's working. Should be all good. Quality should be super. Everything should be fantastic. Fantastique. Right. Beautiful. I think the noise isolation might be taking off the music too much. And the other thing I can do, I don't know if it's a USB card has added noise to the PC, or if something else is adding noise. But it seems to be like I could get a USB. I could get a USB audio card actually. Instead of plug it into the PC audio, that might fix that. EAWRC £15 might be worth it. Does it sound okay now? See, we have this at the bottom. Can you hear the noise when I'm talking though? You can't whilst I'm talking. Can you hear the noise when we're actually talking? Blah 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 blah. Because the noise is only like 5 decibels. Can you hear the noise here? Yeah, I know you can hear me, but rant audio sample. You're whack. uh. Trying to see if the noise is on a specific frequency. No, it's on. That's weird. I mean, if I turn the EQ down and or the volume down, then you can barely notice the noise. Let's listen to it on our phone. It's inside the PC. That's PC noise. Gonna have to. Gonna have to get a sound card. Have to get a sound card. All right. If I use that filter, that's good. If I use that filter, that's Problem is, if I use the filter, the music gets filtered. It's too aggressive. What the Pontiac Stinger needs to be in Sims. Windows. This is probably because of the USB card. Where I should have a USB sound card I can stick in it. Right, let's have a look for one of them. Sorry about it, Sato. We're trying to fix audio. That's good as well. Right. Let's see if this has the same issue. Oh. No. Hello. Oh, there we go. Still noise. Hang on. Maybe it's this bloody... Uh, Oh, I still got noise on it. Even with the cables not plugged in to the... Okay. If I move the cables to the right, there's some like interference. It's the cables are picking up. It sounds like it's from the PC rather than the cable picking it up. But if I put the cables to the right, it's not as bad. Can you? Ah. We got it. We got it. Yes. I switched over the what's it called? The ground loop thing. What's it called? What's the thing that blocks ground loop? There we go. Done it. Loop de loop. Ripple current voodoo thing. Oh bloody hell. Right. Well that was fun. Oh god. This is why you don't unplug anything. Why did AC crash? Can we reload it? The server up or did the server crash? I think we got the audio working. Oh, my coffee's on the windowsill next to the levitating wheel. Yes, look at that. A whole day we've been doing this all day, guys. All day. Let's do some racing. I started at 5 a.m. I started at 5 a.m. Cable tidying. Hello, BRT. I think, yeah, what's it called? Ground loop something or other blocker. Ground loop noise isolator. That's what it is. We had to just swap it over onto the other cable, which is weird that it was working though on the other It's weird that it actually worked at all. Alright, now that's good though. This is the most realistic. Setting up things takes more time, I know, yeah. Oh god. Right, we're doing a race though. Oh, we got the cables tidied. We got the rig nice. We got the audio working. I now need to try some new and I've got no game audio. I've got no game audio. Ah, come on. Okay, I can't do this race. I'll let you do the race, guys. One thing at a time. No, I can't hear the game audio. No one can hear it. That's just mixer settings. The server's gonna stop. Right, sorry. Let me remake the server with a quick quality. Should work now. It's because if reboot PC without the Go XLR on, it messed it up. Or no, when you plug it into another USB port. Oh, what is going on? I probably do smell, yeah. Always smell. No, actually, no, I had a shower 2 hours ago. So no. There we go. Right, there we go, we've got audio. And I literally washed 2 hours ago. That's why I changed shirt from this morning's epic cable stream. I smell of tea tree oil normally. It's my skin cream. Ah, Jesus Christ, guys. I mean... no, why is that TV turning off? Okay, Come on. We've cleaned up. We've had the sim rig. We've got high quality live stream now, high quality bit rate. Higher bandwidth. You should be able to pick 1440p on YouTube. It should be high quality as well. Look at this. Now we need to break the G-Sync stuff. I want to try that out. It's all working, so we need to break it. Hello, what's this? This is what absolute perfection looks like, yeah. This is what dedicated streaming piece. Why is my mic falling off my face? There you go, that's a bit better. So we need... Really? Should be... Settings. Oh, that's weird. That's weird. The scenes... That's a YouTube thing. Oh yeah, I don't know why Race Essential's on the screen here. Well, yeah, I don't know why. It should... I might need to create a new profile for YouTube. That's weird. Because we are sending a 1440p signal to it. And like 12 megabits. So it's very weird. Ah, guys, everything's working again. Everything's working. Amazing. It only took a day. And 100 a day and £200. Shambles. Yeah, I just ordered 2 new audio cables as well, so that was £20. Should arrive tomorrow. The USB. Oh, you shit! I thought that was... You're such a shit. Antoine Jack and Potato. What happened? So the other day, a USB port fried on my motherboard, and then it also made my capture card. It messed up my capture card as well. So we had to buy... It turned out, I opened my PC to like investigate, and then I realised I had a PCI Express port that I wasn't using, which was very lucky. So we bought a 7-port USB 3 PCI 1 expansion card. So that basically just gave us 7 USB ports, top notch. So that was £25. No, it was £30. I had to buy a cam link, so that was £80. So what's that? 120. 110. Then I've just had to buy £30 of cables, so that's 130, 140. Yeah. Oh, I've just bought a new HDMI cable as well. That was 30. So we've basically spent £160 thanks to one USB port. Thanks to one USB port melting. But I did want to get a new cam link anyway. Yeah, they're rock solid though. I mean, if you just want to do 1080p 60 or whatever, which is all you'd ever really want from a normal camera, they're absolutely rock solid. Like I have one, the one I use behind me, I leave it on 24/7 for like 2 years. How did it melt the USB? I don't know. Probably to do with the capture card and the camera or something, or some weird power issue. I don't know. It was just weird. It was definitely one of the ports. Well, two of the ports were broken. So don't know what happened. But it's alright. I've got some affiliate money from people use my Moser affiliate link to buy the force feedback joystick, so it's all good. Hello, Antithetica Donnelly. Authentic Donnelly. Or Antithetica Donnelly. As my brain reads it. Yeah, we've had 7 people buy Moser force feedback joysticks with my link, so I really appreciate that. Because those joysticks aren't cheap. They spend like $800 to $1,000 on it. I think there is quite a demand for force feedback joysticks, to be honest. Shill what? Yeah, absolute shill. Shill-tacular. I'm hyped. I'm hyped for the force feedback joystick. I really. Moses said they'll send us one to review, so I really want to compare it with the Brunner. It's really interesting. And antiseptic anomaly. Thing is with computer stuff, we don't mention that name here, BRT. Thing is with computer stuff, it still works out cheaper than any car stuff, so it's all good. Like, so even when you're buying like expensive cables, it's still cheaper than stupid car stuff. Like until you get into like 4090s and things, but that's still cheaper than real motorsports. How do you mod your car? I don't know. Don't know what you're talking about. Why would you go shopping? Cat debate. See, that's where you've made a mistake. Why are you going shopping? What's this shopping? You get it delivered to you. Why would you go outside when you could be sim racing? You noob. Hello, Shop Dilemma. Absolute noob going outside. I don't understand it. What's more realistic? iRacing simulates money being taken out of your wallet much better than Assetto Corsa. So in that way, iRacing is the most realistic. iRacing has got a lot more rich people playing it as well. So again, much more like real motorsport. That's bollocks, BRT. Don't be giving me that anodyne response. What a cop out. Neither. Well, yeah, but the point is, some things are closer than other things, aren't they? So, what a bollocks cop out. He asked which is more realistic, not which is absolutely realistic. So, you want to get into racing IRL here in Australia, but you haven't found a streamer from down here I can ask about seat prices. Well, I don't know how much seats cost. Musky, sweaty, streaming Rolex. B. Lansford just wanted to step by and say thank you for making all of your Quest 3 guides. My dad turned 72 this year and we just got a Quest 3. Ah, nice. You should play Walkabout Mini Golf with your dad. And the poker is quite good as well. You could join tables and play with your dad. What else is there? What's good like dad games? Poker, mini golf. Sure, there's some other. There's Riven just came out, but that requires you to be a genius to play. So, not sure. Not sure what else you can get. Oh, 11 table tennis is fun. I don't know how mobile your dad is. Oh, qualifying bugged out. I'll just skip it to the next session, guys. Yeah, the remastered Riven just came out. It could do with some like note taking and stuff, but apparently it's alright. I don't know. You just get it from use my affiliate link. Then it's a good price. Amazon's probably the only place to really get it from, and that way, if you have any flaws, it's easier to get it fixed. Yeah, Mist is on Quest 3 as well. It's like the 3D version. No, we only accept former Formula 1 drivers here. You have to have done. You have to own a race car to drive here. Yeah, you can join. Yeah, anyone can join us as long as they get in and they don't wreck everyone. We don't really care. Yeah, Riven's insane. I played it when it came out and my brain couldn't take it. I was stuck on the first puzzle for like 5 hours. I might buy it and I was thinking of buying it and live streaming it because it'd be hilarious. Because it's so hard. I don't think I can complete it. It's just too hard for me. It's the type of puzzles that require you to remember stuff and take notes, and it's like insane. It's absolutely mental. Like you have to change something on one part of the island that then affects something bloody miles away, which then requires you to know the time of day and the season. Something like, oh, sorry. Yeah, well, they did a remastered real-time Riven. That's what the Quest 3 version is based on. So yeah, they did it ages ago. It's on Steam, like 4 or 5 years ago. Riven, they've done like 7 versions. I think the point and click thing made it harder because you'd have to click away from the puzzle and then it'd change the image and then you'd forget. We'll have to give it a go. It'll be funny. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. So the problem with the VR Riven is it doesn't have. I think you can take screenshots or something, but it doesn't have like a notes thing, which is like the most obvious thing for them to do. So it's a bit weird. Because I get it every time I change gear. Look, I get a red ring of death. Look, now you need to put your Xbox 360 in a towel. Overheated Xbox. It's good again. It's good again. 3 players. We've got 3 players on our Xbox. Oh no! It's boot error. Boot error. Ah, we're about to have to put it in the towel. Towel that Xbox. Only real gamers understand toweling an Xbox. Cut a hole. Reseat the CPU. R-Factor and LMU have terrible force feedback, so they're good fun though. This is the Game of Muscles force feedback test. You ask people if R-Factor 2 has good force feedback, and if they say yes, you know that they don't. You know that they don't know what they're talking about. if they say that ACC has good force feedback, you know that they're like completely damaged. That's the Game of Muscles school of force feedback. When's the next one? When this one's finished? I can't see into the future. R-Factor 2 has over the top force feedback, but no detail for the tyre slip. But most sim racers will say R-Factor 2 has the best force feedback. There's like memes in sim racing. There's like weird memes that are not based on anything. They're just regurgitated. They're like regurgitated points that become established because enough people have commented about it. Yeah, iRacing's force feedback isn't terrible, but its physics aren't very good. But its force feedback's not like, it reflects what the tyres are doing, which is just slopping. But it does actually have pretty detailed force feedback. Actually, it's low frequency. So this is another good test. A lot of people will say iRacing's force feedback's terrible, but because it's low, its update rate is slow, so it's not smooth. But they don't know that the smoothness of the force feedback in terms of update rate isn't the most important thing, because the force feedback that's useful to drive from, that you actually use to tell what the car's doing, is low frequency force feedback that's not affected so much by low update rate. But like I tell you, 95% of sim racers don't know that. It's insane. I'd say probably less than 1% of sim racers can quantify what is good or bad force feedback. It's honestly it's insane. And yet 90+% of sim racers will just outright go, oh, this game has good force feedback, or this is really good, this is great. But they don't know why. They're just it's crazy. It's genuinely mental. So, welcome to the land of sim racing. But it's also like the load cell brake thing, right? The fact is, you can actually set up a non-load cell brake to operate basically the same as a load cell brake. There's no real reason necessarily that a potentiometer-based brake couldn't generally work in the same fashion as a load cell from the player's perspective. You can set a game up and you can set a pedal up with a load cell so that it basically, you could certainly be setting top split 8th place times, right? Quite easily. Most sim racers won't know that. 90% of sim racers don't know that at all. The
pace car is out of control.
They'd say, oh, load cell, yeah, load cell's amazing. But they don't know why. They're just repeating. They just repeat what's said. It's crazy. I'm not saying that load cells are bad. You might as well have a load cell for a multitude of reasons, but given that I'm shit at sim racing, but I'm in the top 10 in the top split in like Formula cars in iRacing, it shows you how off like so many people are at sim racing. To the degree where load cell, wheel, force feedback, all this stuff, it doesn't make any difference, to be honest, at all. For the vast majority of people, it doesn't make any difference at all. They're not even vaguely. Look at that drift. Whoa! They're not even like vaguely driving to the limits of the car in a somewhat controllable way. So it's all moot. It's really weird. It's actually really weird. It's interesting with sim racing. It's like Counter-Strike. The number of people that just don't understand, like basic smokes, rushing a site at the same time, holding positions. You have to defuse the bomb before the bomb timer goes out. It's there's nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong buying nice equipment or stuff that's just really high end. That's fine. Like, why not? It's funny when people comment on something or adamantly defend something when they genuinely don't have a clue about it, other than what they've just read in like one or two other sources. Like they haven't tried the stuff themselves to know if what they're talking about is actually the case. They've just read it a few times or multiple times. They've heard the same thing being said a lot, so then it becomes the truth. That's what I think everyone's susceptible to. That's how propaganda generally works as well. It's like, it doesn't matter if something's true. If you hear the same thing from like 3 or 4 different places, you start to assume that it's the truth because you've heard it from 4 places. So it's like alt-right stuff, for example. You'll have like 3 different pundits. You'll have Fox News and you'll have something else, and so people will be like, oh well, look, there's all these different sources all telling me this thing, so I've come to the conclusion myself that that's true. And it's like, well, no, it doesn't matter. It's the quality of the source or the stuff that you actually know yourself that you can bring to the table. A better example is like flat earthers. They'll be like, wow, these 5 flat earthers have said this. It's like, it doesn't matter what sources have those 5. If they're all saying the same thing from the same source, that's not 5 people saying something. That's people repeating the same piece of information. It's also the most realistic. Yeah, it's Warren Devine. It's just proper. It's just how you do propaganda. You because it's to do with how humans generally perceive information to be true. Is if you hear it from multiple places, you start to believe it's true, because why else would you be hearing it? You know, why else would you hear that same thing from so many places? I'm not sure if it is, but bro, I'm not sure if it's an argument from argument ad populum is just argument, not argument from authority. It's what's another way of saying it? When a large number of people say something. But yeah, I think it's another degree of that. Oh no, they're researching, Warren. This is what's sort of pernicious and tricky about it. They do. This is why they say do your research. They're researching, but they don't know what a good quality source is. So what they do is they research all flat Earth sources, for example. And so from their perspective, they're doing lots of research and they're open-minded. And every time they do their research, they come to the same conclusion. So because they're going into the research with, it's partly confirmation bias as well, but they're researching within the same bubble. So rather than looking at information outside of it, but so it's a mixture of a whole bunch of things. Looking at information in a single bubble, not basing sources based on quantifying the quality of sources, because a lot of you can't just take 30 different samples of low quality sources and then one good quality source, and then you go, oh, but 30 of these sources say this and the one source says no. They're not equally weighted. Like if you had one environmental, like a climate scientist that has like a degree in some specific part of climate or whatever, and maybe they specialize in like ice core drilling. Maybe they also have some other knowledge. You know what? They've got a degree and a whole bunch of stuff in that field. Well, that person's and they're referring to studies that have been peer reviewed and stuff. That what that person brings to the table is more valuable than 50 climate denialists or 50 flat earthers, right? Unless the flat earther or climate denialist can bring some interesting information to the table where they go, oh, here's a bunch of sources, and these sources have been peer reviewed, and they actually show this other effect, so it's likely this other thing's happening. So maybe you might be able to make an argument for non-man-made climate change. You might be able to. So the popular one was the sunspot thing, or the solar seasons, which is, you can, if you look into it's actually, you can disprove it. But like, that's not necessarily an unreasonable thing to conclude. Like, you could go. Thanks for subscribing on YouTube. Appreciate that. It could be that man putting stuff in the environment affects the climate, and you might agree with that. But it could be that volcanic eruptions or solar stuff or whatever, there could be another thing that's actually causing a bigger effect, or there could be an external thing that's mitigating it, or it could be that man putting stuff in the climate could be reducing it. But the point would be, you'd need to like actually have peer-reviewed data on that and quantify it. And that's where they all fall down, is that it turns out it's always, or not always, but like a lot of it is a load of bollocks. And also you tend to find that they're funded by the oil industry, which is a weird coincidence. Strangely. Well, everyone knows the Earth's actually a dodecahedron. Right, I'm going to try some graphics settings. I'm leaving it on the same track because I want to try this. I want to break AC here. In theory, if you run G-Sync and you run Reflex Boost forced, and you also run V-Sync on, in theory it should run smoother and better. But this works with CS2 for the most part, works with PUBG, and it works with Hell Let Loose for the most part. But simulators, you need the image to be like really solid without blurring. When you're playing FPS games, you don't really notice. You rotate so quickly, it's gonna blur. Even it will blur, like, because you're moving so quickly. Especially on LCD, you're gonna get blur. Like, the pixels can't update for that speed. On an OLED, not necessarily. So, well, we're gonna try this out and see how it works. Yeah, exactly. They're fun games. That's the point. The point I make with, for me, when I load up, whenever I've played LMU, I've had a pretty fun race in it. It's not perfect. It crashes. It's a bit demanding. Force feedback's a bit rubbish. But you have a fun racing LMU and R Factor 2 because of the netcode and stuff. So, and the ranking thing built into the game is really good. So that's the main thing that matters for a driving game. That it doesn't. So the problem with iRacing, its netcode is terrible. Its physics are pretty awful. So the ranking helps make the racing quite good, but the thing with LMU is you're gonna get good racing. That's the main thing, right? I'm using. So there's also a debate with graphics settings with VSync, right? In theory, using the game's implementation of VSync should work better than Nvidia's, in theory, but sometimes forcing VSync on with Nvidia works better. so that's a thing as well. Right, so I'm doing these settings in Assetto Corsa. I'm going to force low latency mode, which is basically the reflex and boost. All reflex means the medium setting. All that does is make sure that low power mode isn't put on your graphics card. Yeah, iRacing is good if you just want to have a race. Also, it's got a good mixture of cars that are active and oval. So even though the cars don't drive like cars, you can get it's generally better than Gran Turismo physics, and it's generally drivable. It's only when you start getting like actually within like 2 or 3 seconds of pace, then you notice the physics are totally shit. But like, if you're crap, you're not going to notice. Most people are like, I'm crap, and most people are crapper than me, so they're not going to notice. Like, this is so mental to me, guys. Like, I am giga shit at sim racing compared to like you have actual esports drivers and actual drivers, people that could do real driving, right? They're like one level. They're like actual drivers that are good, but they might vary in consistency and they might have variable racecraft, but they can fundamentally drive straight away quickly, and their pedal inputs and stuff all make sense all the time. Like Emil Bernstoff, esport drivers, good drivers. Then you have people like Samsoid, for example, who's a really good driver, or there's lots of really good drivers out there. They're not esports drivers, but what they do makes sense. They could be driver coaches. They're good drivers, right? They're actually good drivers. They would do really well in real life driving as well, but they wouldn't be like Formula 1 drivers, but they do really well. Then you have people like me that could like do okay in races with practice, but my pedal input's mental. My consistency is terrible. It takes me ages to learn tracks, but that's still pretty good. Like, it's quite good. I'm happy being there. Then you have like this huge like gap of people that are so shit at driving, which is fine. I mean, I was there as well, and it's fine. Nothing wrong with it. I'm not knocking them. It's actually probably more enjoyable. But they're so shit at driving. Like, they're so far. They're not turning the car on the pedals at all. They can't even counter steer properly. They can't drift. And that's 95% of people driving in real cars and sim racing. They're absolutely shit. And that's the majority of the market. So it's like that with most sports, I think. And again, not knocking them. It's fine. It's fine to be shit. But it's just funny that when you're then trying to talk about objective components of games and going, oh, what's closer? What's better? What, you know, what equipment? It's like, wow, you know, like skiing. Most people do snowplow. They can't even ski. They can't even slalom at all. Oh dear. Yeah. Also, I think before people comment online, they need to demonstrate that they can do X lap time at a certain track. That should be like a rule. Like, you can comment, but you can't really talk about which thing is better or worse, or like how something drives, because it's like me commenting on the intricacies of Unreal Tournament or Quake 3, right? I never learnt the spawn timings, and I was never good with, like, I couldn't rocket jump properly. I was shit. So there's no way I could really comment on if Quake 3 is better than Unreal Tournament. I could talk about it from a casual point of view and go, oh, I like these aspects are better or worse, but in a general sense, especially when it applies to actually playing competitively and not casually. Like, get your digital gloves on. Yeah, but I just think with Sims, I think if you had comments online, I think this works for everything. If someone's typing a political comment, they should have to demonstrate, oh, they've written these books, or oh, they've linked to these sources. Oh, they've already said that they prescribe to these philosophical views or political views. Oh, they've got a degree, or oh, they do you know what I mean? Some kind of something, so that you don't, because people read everything online as if it's equally valid, and it clearly isn't. Like, this is why people need to provide sources when they
Let's go.
type stuff. We're doing settings, mate. That's why I'm chatting. My gamer muscle's falling over. Oh dear. Let's put him over here. Right, let's try this. We're gonna get G-Sync on this, and then I'm gonna do the game.
Okay, let's go.
Let's go. It's not really about lying.
Okay, let's go.
I think it's more about credentials.
Okay, let's go.
Oh, he's had a few drinks. That's how he gets through the day. Right, I'm forcing V-Sync on.
Okay, let's go.
In the game, rather than through the control panel.
Woo. Okay, let's go.
Let's see if this works. Oh no! No, that was the wrong. Oh, ruined everything, guys. Well, I might have just crashed my computer here. Oh dear. Well, it's not. iRacing is not dirt cheap. Oh no, what's going on with my computer? Oh. Oh, there we go. It's enabled G-Sync. Well, let's see how this works then. Right. Oh, that's good. My game keeps crashing when I try to load it. That adds to the excitement. It used to do this. I don't know what's... Okay, my screen just turned off. That's suboptimal. Oh. Hang on. Why is it... Ah, now right click's not working in Windows. Why? Oh, there we go. Windows is having a meltdown. Right click is causing Windows to crash. Oh my goodness. Oh, Windows is like crashing over and over again. Yeah, I might have to restart PC. Restart it. This is why G-Sync whilst live streaming through a capture card is not necessarily the best idea. But we'll give it a go because it'll be interesting to see. Well, the problem is partially that 3 4K monitors at 120 Hz. Well, 3 times 4K is technically too much for the graphics card. So, it's not ideal. Weirdly, two graphics cards will work worse. Hang on, did someone just do a donation? Why didn't that come up on my screen? Thank you very much for donating. Who was that? Thank you. Very generous of you. No, because 4K looks good. If you've got a 4K screen, you want to be running it in 4K. It's not that I'm not running all screens in the game. It's to do with like the memory allocation. It's not that I'm not running all screens in the game. So the problem is that even if you're not displaying anything on the screens, it's a lot of pixels just for the graphics card to address. No, unplugging them doesn't help. It's fine. Yeah, I'm trying some new Windows settings, some graphic settings. No, I'm using LG C1s. Why would I use them when I have 52-inch OLEDs? Right. Try this in single player. Oh, the screen's just turning off. It's weird. This is also because I'm using a capture card, so we're absolutely pushing this to the limit. Push it to the limit. The server died, yeah, because my computer caught on fire. Right, this should be working. I'm running it. Put VSync on windowed mode. G-Sync on windowed mode. Oh. Yep, it's working. See if this. Oh yeah, might have worked. Might have actually worked. Well, good. So, oh yeah, I think it might have worked. Awesome. This is in window mode as well. So basically, yeah, it looks like it's all sharp. Ah, awesome. We've technically lost a few FPS, but now G-Sync's on. Even if the FPS goes down to like, you know, down by like 10 or something at the start of the race, it'll still be smooth. Well, you need to try G-Sync with Reflex, like with Ultra, and with V-Sync turned on, and then it should basically cap the frame rate 3 FPS under the monitor, underneath the monitor's frame rate, and then it should work. I've been testing it with Counter-Strike 2, Hell Let Loose and stuff, and it's worked really well. And that's with mouse input, obviously, so... Yeah, if your game is easily running over the refresh rate of the monitor, it doesn't really matter. But if your refresh rate of your game is generally under that of your monitor, then you're better off using Boost plus V-Sync, G-Sync, Ultra, and V-Sync. And the point is, the V-Sync means that it never goes over. It's never going to go over the monitor. Ultra sets it basically the same as a frame rate limiter, but it's done on a hardware level, 3 or so FPS below the monitor's hertz. Ultra also sets it so that the graphics card is not using, it's using the full power of the graphics card. It's 4 FPS. So it's a small amount, it doesn't matter. And it also times the frames so that your graphics card isn't rendering additional frames that it doesn't need. It's talking with the CPU and the graphics card, so the frames are all in order. If the monitor, well, so if you're using Reflex, like full, either Reflex and Boost, but it's just called Ultra Low Latency. If you're using that V-Sync and what was saying, whatever the other, and G-Sync, you're never going to go over your monitor's refresh rate because it specifically puts it below that. If you don't use those settings and you run past your monitor's refresh rate, you can get tearing still, but once you pass 144 hertz or even like 200 hertz, the tearing is going to be so quick you might not notice it anyway. Also, the frame timing can be consistent, but it's capped, uncapped frame rate. Yeah, it's a capped frame rate, but it's not. But the frame rate is linked with the monitor. That's the key thing as well. So the reason why you get micro stutter is often because the frame rate of the game on your graphics card is rendering at a different rate to what can be displayed on your monitor, which means you can get tearing because part of your monitor is getting a newer image than another part, or it can mean that your frame timing is like, oh, we've got 3 frames, we've got 3 frames, now we can only show 2, we got 1, and now we've got 4, now we've got 6, now we've got 1. So within, let's say you've got like let's say you've got a tenth of a second, you could have like the frame rate's going like this, right? And it's displaying the frames like this. Whereas if you have VSync, old VSync, and it's your monitor's running 144, your game is running at 144 easily, your PC's not having an issue, it's always displaying the same amount of frames. It's just doing the frames like that. So the thing with like G-Sync and reflex boost and everything is it means that your frame timing is basically as static as possible. But if the frames do drop, it makes sure that the drops are in time with the monitor matches up with it, but it makes sure it's like temporally still makes sense. The other component of it as well, I'm not 100% sure on this, but because the problem is with the information on this is all over the place. No one seems to know for sure. And there's some contradictory points on this as well, with people getting different data, because it's with such minute bits of detail. But one of the things with VSync, if you let's say you were playing at 30 FPS, 30 VSync on a 30 Hz monitor, if you move the mouse, you're going to get like an input delay of like 40 milliseconds or something, right? So you'll move the mouse, but then the screen will update and it will be mismatched and it won't make any sense. With G-Sync and some of the other technologies, if you move your mouse, even though it might not display on the screen exactly one-to-one because if it's not doing screen tearing, the graphics card still gets the mouse movement data. So the frame that's updated is a frame that's updated that takes into effect the mouse movement. So even though you didn't get a frame for each you move the mouse quickly upwards or quickly to the right, even though you don't get a frame for that movement, when it does display the frame displays the correct amount of movement that the mouse would have had, because the mouse input is separate from the frame generation. I think that's another thing that it does with reflex, with the boost on reflex. But where G-Sync supposedly works the best is when you have really high frequency monitor. So two scenarios. G-Sync works really good if you have like a 120 Hz monitor or even a 60 Hz monitor or something, and the frame rate drops quite low, and it stops you getting tearing, and there's not high latency, and it's generally smooth. Works great for that. But where G-Sync works absolutely its best is when you have in the future you could have like 1,000 Hz monitor or 200 Hz monitor. It doesn't matter. The point would always be that the monitor is always staying in sync with the graphics card, with the images being generated. So that's probably the biggest aspect of G-Sync, that we're not quite there yet, because the most monitors, we've got like 240 Hz monitors and stuff. Right, I'm gonna create another server, guys. But this seems to be working, which is good. No, it's not. It's not extants. It's not. That's a common misconception. No, it isn't. In a sense, it is. In one sense, it is. If your game can render at like 300 Hertz, 300 FPS, and your monitor's 300 Hertz, you're not going to notice. You're at such a high frequency, you're probably not going to notice. But actually, having it link up to the monitor at the higher frame rates means that you're still not going to get any tearing, and everything's going to link up, and the timing of the frames. So you could have like a 300 Hertz monitor, the frame rate in the game could drop by 20% randomly, or could drop something else out. By having that monitor linking up, can produce a more consistent image. But yeah, there is an argument that if you have everything turned off and you're running at like 1,000 FPS or something, or 600 FPS, then in theory the input latency would generally be lower. The problem is it's also going to vary from game to game, and also you're talking within ranges that are completely and utterly imperceptible. So I would argue the primary thing that most people would want to go for would be outright frame consistency, because that's always going to look smoothest, it's going to be most predictable, and it's also, on the rare occasion where the frame rate drops, it's going to make it look good. So yeah, sure, if you've got like a 5090 and you're playing like a game from 10 years ago, okay. but yeah, so the argument against the G-Sync at higher frequencies, you start getting into, as they said in chat, you get a point where you're like, oh, there's some sort of processing going on, or there's a process, or there's basically a somewhat of a limitation being applied. And then the argument is it's at such a high frequency, and the range of the lows and highs it's so high that the lows and highs are all within a threshold that are imperceptible, and so you're talking about 2 milliseconds or something, or even less. You might notice it less. Extants, yeah. The problem is you're talking. It's all within such small margins. Martin Hall is gonna but that's to do. So you could have a 60 hertz monitor, and you're not going to get input lag that's noticeable if you're not using VSync necessarily. So if you use G-Sync, if you use VSync on a 60 hertz monitor, you will notice input lag. Believe me, it's like 30 millisecond delay. But you'll have so the advantage of G-Sync is on, let's say, 120 hertz or lower monitors, you get the same image quality effectively as VSync, i.e. the pixels are more defined, you don't get as much ghosting, you don't get tearing, and you also don't get the input delay. That's the advantage of using G-Sync. Yeah, well, 1,000 hertz, that's a whole nother. That's, everything's once you're probably around about 400 hertz. If you got to 400 hertz or more, and you're never dropping the frame rates, the frames or anything, everything's happening within such a tight time period. It's outside the perception of humans. So. Yeah, what's confusing, what's really dumb about this is Nvidia and graphics companies have done such a shit job of naming this, and they've not renamed stuff when they should have. So the fact of the matter is, when you've got VSync on as well as G-Sync, it is a completely different thing to if you've just got VSync on in the classical sense. Like a monitor that's updating with the frames of the game, that should just be its own term. And to be honest, VSync should just be on by default. It shouldn't even be an option. If you're using G-Sync, no, it does do this. It does do the same thing essentially. It's just that it's effectively capping the high end of the frame rate. But Adam, wait, the reflex boost setting also does that. Also caps it by reduces the frame rate by 4. So yeah, in that context, it's operating differently, but also doing the same thing in a sense, but not actually doing the same thing because it's negated by the fact the frame rate's dropped below anyway. And it's like, it's so stupid. It's so ridiculously confusing for no reason at all. Hang on, if you have 144 hertz, you lock the FPS to 44 with G-Sync. No, G-Sync doesn't lock the FPS. G-Sync literally just means that the game frame rate is linked with your monitor's frame rate. Obviously, once your game is running faster than your monitor's frame rate, then it's no longer using G-Sync, basically. So the reason why people use V-Sync and also Reflex Boost is because what it does is it forces your monitor and game to always be in G-Sync, because really fantastically, if you just have G-Sync on, only G-Sync, when the monitor goes from above using G-Sync, so it's the same as having it off effectively, if it then dips into G-Sync, you get a stutter. It's so stupid. So it actually ends up being worse. So again, why G-Sync should automatically put V-Sync on, or it should automatically do a frame cap, which is basically what V-Sync is essentially doing. It's a lower level frame rate cap in a sense. So it's so dumb though, right? There's 5 different things to keep in your mind and multiple different scenarios, and then and to make it even worse, some games it works better if you do G-Sync using the game's, not G-Sync, if you do V-Sync using the game's V-Sync setting, works better than if you use the NVIDIA control panel V-Sync setting. But some games, it's better to do it in the NVIDIA control panel. Why? I don't know. Oh yeah, did I say this? On the reflex setting, right? I said this earlier. You know how you have reflex, you have off, boost and ultra, right? From all my research, boost literally doesn't do anything. All it does is it changes the NVIDIA control panel setting effectively. That means that the graphics card's not in power saving mode. So it might as well not exist, because who playing video games would want to use that? Maybe if you're on a laptop, but if you're playing a game on a laptop that's demanding, you would have it plugged into the wall anyway. So why even bother? Why not just have it as like, you could have literally G-Sync does all those things automatically, because 99% of the time, 99.9% of the time, that is what you would want, and that is what most people would want. So then you can have the other settings elsewhere, but G-Sync means Reflex Boost, V-Sync and G-Sync all turned on. That is G-Sync, and that is what FreeSync should do as well, the AMD version. It should just be, that's what it should mean. It should mean, oh, your graphics card is in sync with your monitor, basically, and it looks great, it works great. One setting. Oh, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. What's that? If it worked better capped under monitor limit because it stays out of V-Sync input lag. No, that's separate again. That's separate again, because G-Sync automatically negates V-Sync input lag. So the input lag that happens from V-Sync is to do with the graphics card weight. Well, it's to do with the frame. If your frame rate is X amount, or your monitor's X amount, it has to wait. And then the input also isn't applied to it. As I say, there's another process as part of G-Sync. There's another process that accounts for input, I'm pretty sure. But I'm not 100% sure on that. That's from my research. It seems that it does actually, it takes the input and applies it outside of the frame rate. So, but yeah, if you've gone over the frame rate of VSync, by definition, you're no longer limited by VSync by definition. So, what, like, no extensive. This is what I mean. This is what I'm saying. If the graphics card or if the game can process the input independent of the image that's displayed, as long as the input, the amount of movement of the input is applied, it's not going to make any difference from the player's perspective. Like, so for example, if it's 2 FPS, that's going to be the FPS. So the visual delay will be there because it's 2 FPS. But if you move your mouse and at the point when you moved it to the right, the game has updated the view to the right amount corresponding to a centimetre of mouse movement. Because otherwise, if it did add input delay in the same way as VSync, then G-Sync would be pointless, wouldn't it? So unless you're talking about some other aspect of input delay, but you're talking about like a millisecond. Yeah, well that's what we're talking about. But G-Sync will on its own. No, the whole point is that you don't get the delay that you would get with VSync because it's not waiting for the frame because it's updating the monitor. It's not having to wait for like the interval of the monitor. So for example, if you have a 120 hertz monitor, or if you have a 60 hertz monitor and you're using VSync, it's like 20 something milliseconds per update, or 20 milliseconds delay or whatever. Whereas if you're using G-Sync without reflex, it can still update the screen when your frame rate drops. Yeah. Yeah, but there's a difference between VSync latency that you get from VSync. The latency you get from VSync when your game is running below the frame rate required to hit VSync. The point of G-Sync on its own is that when the frame rate drops in the game, the screen is still updating correctly with the monitor. So you don't get the same input delay that you get with VSync on its own. Right, anyway. Let's create a server. This stuff's all really clear. No, exactly, I agree. It should just be, as I say, this is what G-Sync should be called. G-Sync should be VSync reflex on Ultra, G-Sync reflex and VSync and the thing on Boost, Ultra, whatever. That's what it should be. And then if you want to, there should be ways where you can turn things off if you want. In fact, if I was designing it in the user interface for G-Sync, I'd have a drop-down box so that it was like, enable G-Sync, and then it's 3 tick boxes, which would be VSync, reflex, and G-Sync, reflex, and VSync. And it would tick them all automatically if you select it. And that's just called G-Sync. And it has a green, and it makes them all green. Oh dear. because you read about this, and even people that work in graphics are confused about this, and then also some games don't work properly, so that also makes it even worse. Right, I'm getting the server up here, guys. No, so to make it less complex, you have one option, but I'm saying when you in G-Sync would mean all three of them are enabled. But I'm saying it's one option, and I'm saying that you can, in that option, if you want to, you can disable the individual components of it if you want to, but your average person would just see one button called G-Sync. They would click it, and that's all they'd need to know. They could then click an advanced button if they want to, but G-Sync would be those three things. Well, the problem is you can't do you can't do SLI because there's not enough bandwidth for SLI, is there? And it has time. It has more timing issues. You get even more delay with SLI because do you remember that? Like the top part of the screen. I'm just setting up the server here, guys. By the way, the top part of the screen and the bottom would be rendered by one card, and the bottom by another, and then it would have to sync them up, and then that would have a delay with it. And then you'd only be getting like 20% of the other card because half of it couldn't be used. The memory would be used, but then you would get enough memory on a graphics card anyway. And then they just started putting two graphics cards on a single graphics card, and they were like, well, this works. We did the McGann Trophy, guys. We'll see how well this works. See if my computer catches on fire. Oh, you could choose Pelucan. Yeah, you could have every other frame, or you could divide it up. I think it was 2 different modes. But yeah, then it turned out that that was also with PCI Express, whatever, the older one, and then they made it that the data rates for the single ports were higher. And you just wouldn't get the benefit from it. You might as well just have a faster single card. Let me just paste the server in here. Oh, how about this? Because I was playing Counter-Strike the other day with Thomas, and I was talking about we were messing around with G-Sync stuff, and I was like, "Oh, try it out," and he couldn't get it to work right. And it turns out the reason why he couldn't get it to work was because in the NVIDIA control panel, how dumb is this? There's a setting. This is like moronic on another level. Because it's not obvious at all. Like you just wouldn't think about this. There's a setting called monitor technology, which, if you don't click the right thing on it, you have to have G-Sync compatible selected. Otherwise, it doesn't use G-Sync. The game doesn't use G-Sync, even though you've enabled G-Sync in the panel for the main thing. And then, so you can also have it as and a lot of stuff will be fixed refresh rate. By default, it will pick fixed refresh rate. So there'll be shitloads of people out there that will have enabled G-Sync, and they're like, oh, right, I've got G-Sync, and they probably have a fast computer and a good monitor, so they probably don't even realise that they're not using G-Sync because they've selected it and the computer's running fast. It probably looks pretty good, so they probably don't even know. How dumb is that? How moronic. Here we go, look. Here. Monitor technology is normally on this, and it's often on fixed refresh. So you have to select this. So dumb. So dumb. Yeah, and you also have the G-Sync setting as well. Oh, it's so dumb. Like, how can it be this bad in 2024? Ah, no. Screen's not working. No. Ah. Ah, no. I thought it was working last game. Ah, no. Oh, no. That's it. That's D-Sync. That was N-Sync. Ah. Oh, no, it's back. It's back. Oh, no. Yeah, I think the capture card's struggling with this. Too much power. Okay. Yeah, it's weird. This capture card's supposed to do G-Sync pass-through, but seems to struggle sometimes. But then that should have been windowed mode, so it should have been fine. Oh, let's set it to 119. It was kitchen sink. Oh no, the capture card's not sending us the image. Oh no. What do I do now? It's the last thing we wanted to happen. Oh, here we go. Right. We're back. We got it back. How do we get it to run in windowed mode? We force it to be windowed. Why is it making the screen go off if I'm doing it in windowed mode? Doesn't make any sense. Oh. Yeah. So I think the capture card's a bit finicky. Ah, she's blurring now. Ah, no. Now it's doing the fuzziness. That's so weird. Why would it do it? Why would it do it there but not before? Oh, thank you. DD girl with a DD wheel. What a babe, what a beauty, what a sexy lady. It's a DD girl with a DD wheel. David Adams with a DD lady. It's a DD girl with a wheel. What a beautiful woman she is. It's a DD girl, DD girl. Sexy surfer motor babe. Everybody needs a DD girl. Put a DD girl in your syringe. Everybody wants DD girl. She's so beautiful and perfectly formed. What a babe, what a beauty. DD girl with a DD wheel. DD babe. DD girl. DD girl. Absolutely perfect. David Adams with a DD girl rotating around in his bed. DD girl, DD girl, DD girl. Well, thank you. Thank you for that. Great moment there. Beautiful stuff. Tears have been shed. Hang on. Maybe this issue's to do with the screen being at 120 Hz. Maybe it doesn't like that. And maybe that's why it does that stutter. But when I do 119, everything breaks. Because I appreciate people supporting us. So they get their own rendition. They get renditioned. It's about caring, BRT. It's about ruining people's ears every single time. It's beautiful. Oh, hang on. Maybe that was because the game was running at 119.88. But it shouldn't matter. Oh, well, let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens. Right, here we go. Let's see if this works. No, I know you can't. So the screen bloody turns off. It bloody turns off. If I do 119. So I have to run the screen at 120. Otherwise, the capture card doesn't accept it. So let's try forcing it to 120. Oh, I didn't have to turn it off that time. So let's put the screen at 120. It must be to do with the EDID on the capture card. So that's working. That's 120. And then so how do we set this in here? We should just be custom. But I'm running in Windows, so it doesn't make any sense. Hang on, the screen's just turned its... Oh dear. Right. Yeah, because I enabled it to Windows as well, but now it's turning off. Now we don't want to do that. It seems to be really random. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Also, it's going to full screen even though I'm set in window mode. Maybe if I press Alt Enter, maybe it's still trying to go full screen. Right, let's see if this breaks everything. I tried that first. Oh, it's blurring the background. It didn't do it in single player though. That's really weird. Hang on. See, it's not doing G-Sync properly. Why? Why? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was not full screen before. Or maybe it is a frame rate. I think there's a mismatch between the monitor and the frame rate of the game. No, that I fixed that. The USB thing. It is enabled because I can see it on my TV. Not applying the reflex setting though. Ah dear. Alright, let's force the V-Sync using the control panel. Oh, hang on. Maybe we didn't force the V-Sync setting. Maybe it changed that. No, it was. It is on. Oh well. Oh, we'll force it outside of the game. Ah, now the monitor's turning off again. Why? But it's not. Ah, dear. Ah. Oh yeah, it's got a sync issue with the monitor. It like flashed on and then disappeared. Maybe if I restart this PC like this now. Hang on, why is that working? And then when I click the screen, it doesn't. But it should be windowed. It's like it thinks it's full screen. No, it doesn't. It doesn't cause issues. It's the whole point. Okay, we can try it off, but then it's probably to do with the capture card, to be honest. Yeah, I might reboot the PC. It could be to do with the capture card. It probably is the capture card rather than the monitor. It's weird that it works in Windows. So I don't know why the game's going full screen. If we set the game to windowed, why is it loading the game full screen? Or why does it even think it is? Look. Yes, it's blurry. I mean, when you move. Let's try it full screen. No, hang on. Let's put this on Ultra. Try this on. still. That shouldn't be 120 hertz though. This should be below 120. It should be running at like 116. Let's try full screen. No. Full screen just caused the old computer to go into meltdown. Ah, it's because I picked the wrong resolution, didn't I? Huge error. Oh yeah, we should get a blue screen of death. Oh, full screen's doing G-Sync properly. But the still getting blur. Hello, oh. Yeah, this is just well finicky. This is like going into it goes into meltdown. Why did it work the first time? With single player. No, I'm just trying some. I wanted to see if I could get G-Sync working with some of the sims on this computer. I normally just use V-Sync, which works pretty well with the way I do it, but yeah, I don't know why. Oh, let's load single player. See if it works again. But the problem is it's only really obvious with driving sims. I think it might be. Maybe it was still doing it. Maybe it's just a quirk of these monitors where you have to be running VSync to get the. It's weird. I can't think of. I can't think of anything else that would. No, it's not to do with frame rate. Yeah, no, believe me, you're not helping. It could be the same issue. It looks like it could be a similar issue to what was happening with AMS2, where for some reason the game is addressing the wrong refresh rate for the monitor. Oh, hang on, it is. Oh no, it's not. The problem is if we set it to 120, it was going mental. Let's try it again though. There's like a micro sort of blur rather than it being pin sharp when you rotate. Let me just make sure I'm not going mental here. Let's disable G-Sync. Let's see if it's still there. No, it's not CSP. No, it hasn't. It's not. No, it's not. Don't, like, why are we confidently saying something? No, it doesn't, because I've been playing AC for more hours than you've ever played it in your life. like, do you know? I'm obviously comparing to what I'm used to. Bloody hell! Right. Driven more laps around Donington than any other human on Earth. There's like a clean my screen. Oh, here we go. No, my game was... I guarantee you, my game was running better than anybody else's game on Earth. I guarantee you, like, I am the most anally retentive person when it comes to image quality, because I sim race for 12 hours a day and I have motion sickness. So, like, the smallest thing drives me mental. So, for sure, when it comes to like frame timing and stuff, I mean, I've never come across a computer running AC better than how I have it set up. No, I don't mind backseat help. There's no point giving help when you don't know what you're talking about. It's not help if you say something that isn't helpful, is it? I reckon the capture card's doing something weird. Yeah, we got the menu to it. You had to restart the game, weirdly, for it to start working, which is strange. I reckon it must be the capture cards doing weird shit. Let's try rebooting. Mr. Trump, how does your PC run Assetto Corsa? Incredibly well. It's the best. It's the best at running Assetto Corsa. Let's try rebooting. The texture filtering negative LED bias is turned off. It was on, I've turned it off. What are you saying? If it's on, it'll make it blurry. Or if it's off, it'll make it blurry. In both cases, it made it blur. It was blurry when moving. Which is, I'm not sure why. It's got to be a setting. What's weird is, it was fine before, just with VSync, without G-Sync. I think maybe the capture card needs a reboot each time you change settings. It's not a, this monitor doesn't have overdrive, it's an OLED. Doesn't need overdrive. I mean, maybe OLEDs do have overdrive, but they don't need it. It's pretty weird because I'm sure that first time we loaded up with G-Sync, that very first time, I don't think it was blurry. I think I would have noticed. Maybe it was and I didn't notice because I wasn't paying attention. Right, this is not using G-Sync off. The G-Sync's off now, for sure. It's still a little bit blurry. Maybe it's how it was and I didn't notice. I'm pretty sure it wasn't though. I haven't no, because it was definitely sharp, because I specifically remember it being sharp. How have I managed to break it? Or maybe I need to turn the streaming PC off for the EDID stuff to reset. That's quite possible. No, unfortunately I have really good eyes. I should have saved my settings when it was working. Ah, no. I know. Ugh. This is riveting viewing, I realise. Once we try and work this out. No, it's definitely doing something that it wasn't doing before. What did you say that negative bias setting? Is that if it's on it'll make it blurry, or if it's off? I bet you'll need to restart the stream PC. We don't have. I can't see any change at the moment. Oh, hang on. Well, the problem is if I restart the stream PC, to restart the stream. The more negative bias, the sharper the textures should look. But then you end up with flickering. This is top content as I go through settings here. I'll just reset my global settings to see what happens. Ah, I know what can cause the issue. Sometimes if the other monitor is running slower, sometimes when when another monitor is set at a different frame rate to the main monitor, it can cause issues. Could be that. Good old Windows, that. Right, let's try that. But I don't want to unplug the other monitors because I've got to use it with them plugged in, so that's not useful, is it? It's the shittest advice ever. Oh, to unplug everything so it's in a situation where you're not using it. Oh, that'll be useful. Oh, thank you. What wise advice. Yeah, that's good if you can't get it to work at all, but that's not helpful if you're trying to get stuff to work in the configuration it's mostly working. Maybe maybe it was like this before. I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure it was pin sharp. Even when turning. I reckon we need to restart the stream PC. What was that bias setting called? Negative texture, negative bias. Yeah, let's see what that does. What I need is a worse quality monitor, then I wouldn't notice. Oh, it didn't really make any difference. It's got to be the capture card. It's got to be the capture card giving out the wrong frame rate. It's got to be that. I'm gonna have to restart the stream PC though. Goodbye. I have to restart the stream PC in order to fix it, but I have to turn it off. I'll call it a night. Hopefully I'll give this a go off stream. Maybe we can fix it. So I'm gonna try and fix it. But thanks for watching, guys. It's been exciting. It's been great. Well, hopefully we can actually do some racing now soon. That was exciting. That was a great productive day. Well, at least we did some cable tidying. That's all good. I feel like it was a successful day. That's what I tell myself. Let me send you over to some Ren Sporters. Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, indeed. Like I say, things pretty tight up towards the front. Will his teammate do anything special here? We've seen some great lap times come in from Kevin Ellis Jr. at the moment. Dane Warren. Oh my goodness.
I'll catch you soon.
Oh wow, we've got a lot to talk about in this session then, as Kevin Ellis Jr. will come through the final corner of the set. It is lap time. It'll be a 1:16 something, I think. It's a 16.8. Moves up to provisional pole as here comes Warren. He ain't challenging for it.
No, he certainly is, and that second sector is obviously...
Bye. Hopefully I'll fix this. I'm just gonna bang my head against the wall for a bit. But I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for suffering with us. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.